Welcome to another episode of Riding and Wrenching, the biggest little YouTube channel on the entire interwebs. I am your host, Q the Rider, and in today's episode, I am going to do a follow-up video on my helmet video that I just did yesterday. I have found out some new information that is time sensitive, and I want to get this out to my audience as quickly as possible. And in a nutshell, I recommend the Neotec 2, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. A couple of business items to cover before I get started. I want to recognize the sponsors for Riding and Wrenching. I have Wings Customs and Volunteer Audio. Please check them out if you're interested in upgrading your sound system or you want some custom handlebars or other accessories for your motorcycle. And please be sure to let them know you heard about it here on Riding and Wrenching. I have their equipment on both of my bikes. I've got the Wings Customs bars on my 18 Road Glide. I also have a Volunteer Audio sound system on here that I absolutely love. So definitely check them out. And I also have done videos on both of those that I will provide links to in the description of this video. All right, let's get into it. Why do I recommend the Neotec 2? Well, the Neotec 2 is currently on sale on Amazon for $599. You can't beat it. I think the quantities are limited, and it seems like what they're doing is trying to clear out the inventory of the Neotec 2 to make room for the Neotec 3. The Neotec 3 is a fine helmet, but it's $300 more than the list price for the Neotec 2. And in my opinion, if you're in the market for a new helmet, there is not $300 worth of difference between these two helmets. The $599 for this helmet is a phenomenal deal. I'll post a link, an Amazon affiliate link right here, as well as the description of this video. And if you're in the market for the helmet, I would definitely get this one. The other thing I want to share with you is some omissions that I made in my first video. And the most glaring one is that I failed to talk about the modular component of these helmets. So I'm going to put the helmet on, and I'm going to show you the modular function and also show you the sunshade issue as well. So this is the Neotec 2, and as you can see, the modular portion goes up and down. There's a red button right here, and that red button releases the latch so that you can lift the chin portion up. And this allows you to get more airflow on a hot day, but I don't ride like this at freeway speeds because the chin portion, it grabs a lot of air and it kind of throws your head around. It's not a comfortable way to ride. I generally ride with the visor open, you know, as long as it's not raining or cold outside, and it looks like this. Now the red button that's here is exactly the same as on the Neotec 3. They feel exactly the same way. They function the same way. There's literally no difference. You also have the ratchet strap. That's pretty easy to put on while the helmet's in place. It can also adjust it and tighten it up, and then there's a little release here, and it pops loose. Now, the other thing that I want to share with you on the Neotec 2 that's different than the Neotec 3, on the left side, there's a little button here, or a slider, that you can adjust the sunshade, and it goes up and down. And as I mentioned in my first video, the sunshade on the Neotec 2 is not as big as the Neotec 3. And as you can see, there's a space just above my nose, and I actually appreciate that because on the Neotec 3, as you'll see in just a moment, it actually touches my nose. Now, the other thing with the sun visor down is that I can actually see the line along the bottom here, so I think that's what they took care of, but honestly, it doesn't bother me. Something else about these sun visors on the Neotec helmets is if it's very cold outside or very humid, the sun visor can fog up even in the up position. So you want to be really careful when you lower that sun visor. I tend to lower it slowly just to make sure that I can see through it before I go all the way down. I did make the mistake once with this helmet of just dropping it down while I was riding, and it was completely fogged over. There's nothing quite like riding on a motorcycle when you have, or when you can't see. All right, now let me show you the Neotec 3. So again, as you can see, the red button functions the same way. Literally no difference. I tried riding like this with this helmet to see if it felt different. It doesn't. It throws your head around a little bit. This is not a comfortable way to ride at highway speeds. Again, at slow speeds, it's fine. Now, the next thing, again, is the sunshade. The slider is in the same place. And watch what happens when I take it all the way down. It literally just hit my nose. So I don't think I have a particularly big nose, but man, it's right there. And one of my fears about this particular helmet is that if, God forbid that I go down, and if I face plant on the ground, this sun visor is going to cut my nose. This thing is way too low. So on my trip back, I didn't take it down all the way. I left it about right there to give me a little bit of space in between my nose and the sun visor. Other than that, this helmet was actually pretty awesome. Now, one of the comments that was left in my first video, the person stated that full face helmets can be hot. I agree 100%, which is one of the reasons I historically haven't worn them a lot during the summer. Now, both of these helmets have air vents on top, and I did have an opportunity to test this one out in my ride to Virginia, and you get a nice breeze going through there. You could feel it going across the top of your head, but again, I have a bald head. Maybe that's why it felt so good. But it wouldn't feel good if it were freezing outside. So in that case, I would close it. What else can I tell you? Someone asked me, how do I clean the pin lock? So the pin lock is basically a secondary shield that's on the inside. I don't know if that's going to come through in the video, but if you look, you can see a round line inside of the helmet. That's the pin lock shield. And what that does, it reduces fogging of the helmet when it's very cold or when it's humid out, and it works very well. It's not going to completely eliminate fogging, but it greatly reduces it. It makes it so you can actually ride without worrying about fogging up as much. Now, if you have glasses on, your glasses are going to fog up. So I had laser eye surgery, so that's not a problem for me. Now, the other issue that I talked about in my first video is the air vent that's on the chin. As you can see, that's the problem I had with it. I mean, and I don't have gloves on, but when you have gloves on, it's very difficult to find it. And I still don't know where it is. I think this is it here, but I'm really not sure. On the Neotec 2, it's a more tactile feel to it, and it's easier. It's just, where is it? One here. Oh, there it is. It's just a lot easier to find, and it operates a little bit better than on this one. I'll probably get used to it over time, but just the initial feeling about it, I really don't like it. I like this design better on here. It's just easier to find, especially if you have gloves on. I got a few other comments that are on here. Let me take a look at these. I'll respond to all of them. Great comment from Esteban. Says he likes my channel because it feels like he's in the garage talking to me. So I appreciate that. And I hope that's why people watch my channel. Richard, he stated that he's still using the Neotec 1. I've never seen one. I've only been riding for 5 years. This was my first full face helmet, and I still like it, but I just decided to get a new one. Finesse the Challenger says he normally wears half helmets around town, but when he travels, he wears a full face helmet. But he asked me the question, what do I do with old helmets? What do you do with them? That's a great question. I've got about 10 helmets. Most of them are all of them are half shell helmets except for these. And I only have one of my half shell helmets that I actually wear. The rest of them just kind of sit on the shelf. So I don't know. I don't know what you do with those. Okay, here's a comment from GQ, YouTube channel, Just GQ. Check him out. He has been on me about wearing half helmets. In fact, he said that one time he said that, I'm going to end up being like Two-Face from Batman if I don't stop wearing these half shell helmets. And that football incident that just so happened to occur while I was in New Orleans, that's what pushed me over the ledge to attempt to wear the full face. I'm not going to say I'm going to wear it all the time, but My plan is to wear it most of the time this summer. See, I had a number of people say they're looking for the Neotec 3. So again, you can order them off of Amazon. I'll provide an affiliate link for the Neotec 2 and the Neotec 3, and I'd appreciate you using those affiliate links. HDMF01, nice review. I also have the Neotec 3 and find it to be a very nice helmet. Among other changes, the Neotec 3 is a bit larger than the Neotec 2 because the Neotec 3 meets a new safety standard. Now, I've held these helmets next to each other, and I really can't see a difference in them from size. They look the same to me. I don't know how it looks on camera. I don't know, maybe it's a little bigger, I'm not sure. Yeah, but it looks the same to me. I don't know. Let's see, what else? Let's see, someone else stated that they picked up a Neotec 2. They are on sale. And again, bang for the buck. You can't go wrong with the Neotec 2. In fact, I wanted to show you how I measured my head for the when I ordered the Neotec 3. Now, if you go to Shoei's website, and they have a sizing chart. They have 2 ways for you to determine which size you should get. One of them is a fitted hat size. I have a really big head, and my fitted hat size is 7 7/8. Really big. And occasionally I'll buy an 8. So I got a really big head, but if you have one of these tape measures that a seamstress might use, I go along the biggest part of the back of my head and measure it just like that. And it'll tell you how many inches that you have, and for me, 24.5. I got a really big head. But my hat size alone states that a 2X is good for me, and this helmet is really, really comfortable. I don't remember what size this is. Everything's worn out on the inside. I was trying to look at that to determine it, because this helmet was also comfortable. When I first bought it, though, it was a little bit tight, and it hurt my forehead. This might be an extra large, but I'm not sure. Now, the other thing I wanted to share with you is helmet liners. Helmet liners are really important, and I got 2 different types of helmet liners. This one is a little bit thicker. This one is really thin. Now, the advantage of this thinner one is that because it's thin, it has a smaller seam. When it's on and across my forehead, I don't feel it. This one, the seam is a little bit thicker. Now, this one, I definitely feel it, and it actually gives me a headache when I have this one on underneath my full face helmet. I actually tried it with the Neotec 3, and I had to take it off because it was actually pretty painful. These, I can wear these all the time. This is the best helmet liner. They're really cheap, and I usually keep 2 or 3 of them in my saddlebag because I lose them. Again, I'll provide affiliate links to everything in the description of this video. Please be sure to use those if you don't mind. I would appreciate it. This is Q. I'm riding, I'm wrenching, and I am out.